Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com. In today's podcast, I wanted to speak about PwC's new announcement this week that they're going to be telling people to come back to the office. And there was a whole lot of rumors around this on the internet, but there's finally a webcast this week encouraging people to go back to the office. Now, people have been overblowing this, saying that everybody's going to have to go back to the office for half of their time. There's just a whole lot of confusion and rumors because you have to remember that PwC told people that they can work wherever they want. And they even let people, they say, work around the world, where other Big Four accounting firms said that you could work from places that you wanted, but you can't work with outside of your region, like in another country, because of cybersecurity and things like that. PwC didn't really say that at first, and now they're going to be telling people to come back to the office. Now, the details are still being worked out, and PwC isn't really sure how they're going to enforce this. And people online are saying that they aren't going to enforce it. You have to be in the office for half of your time. If you're remote, you have to come in for mandatory trainings, things like that, group trainings, group sessions. You have to come in for a certain amount of hours a month. And I'm sure PwC hasn't thought through this thoroughly. I just think it's one step and many more steps to come, because you have to think of the timing of this. The timing of this is really bad, and people aren't stupid, right? People have common sense, and the timing of this is when the economy and regional banks and a whole lot of things are going a little bit crazy in the market. Other Big Four are laying people off. A lot of companies are laying people off. And, here comes PwC. We want people to come back into the office. Well, that doesn't sound too bad. And it wouldn't be bad if they hadn't done the work from anywhere program and hadn't made it seem like they were the best place to work because of that. And they were going to recruit a whole bunch of Big Four people from other firms because of that. Well, now it turns out we actually need you to come back to the office. We only need certain people. If you're a new hire, that definitely means that you're probably going to have to work from the office a lot more. And I've been seeing this around the Big Four, that everybody wants everybody to start coming back in. A lot of people are paying for office space. They want people to utilize that. The Big Four have clients that own commercial real estate, and they won't want to give them business to the extent that they can, so they can get business in return. Unfortunately, all this does is create a lot of confusion. And there's places online too that say, PwC announced this, but they say they're still going to have bonuses and raises. Yeah, all the Big Four are saying they're going to have bonuses and raises right now, but that's based on the economy just being in a flat line from here on out. Basically means like there's no downturn in the economy from here. That's the way the Big Four think. Big Four think a month in advance of like their cash collections. The partners think a little bit longer because they think about their bonuses, and that's why they start firing people. But longer term, they only think like a month in advance. So they're saying this is the way it's going to be right now, and we're not going to lay people off, and we're going to have bonuses and raises. But don't get me wrong. They could change that at any moment. A lot of them have frozen hiring, or they're hiring a lot less than they could have. They're delaying start times, all those types of things. So to think that the Big Four aren't going to revise we're giving out bonuses and raises, the only reason they're saying that is because they don't want to lose morale, and they don't want to lose people to good jobs, because there's plenty of companies out there still making money and still willing to pay a lot of money for good accountants. So that's why the Big Four are saying that. That's why PwC is saying that. But if you work at PwC right now, and just the Big Four in general, you lost one of your benefits. One of your benefits was being able to work from anywhere. Well, you can't do that anymore. And right now they say they're not enforcing it. The enforcement of it is kind of confusing. Well, that'll change too until, everybody that starts in this year or everybody on this date has to come into the office all the time unless you have a good reason. Now, even when the whole work from home thing wasn't around, people in the big four, especially the higher ups and partners, uh, worked in the office whenever they wanted. But a lot of times, if you weren't in the office, you were expected to be at a client site. And if you weren't at either of those places, you had to have a good reason, or you just had to be a very senior person and really execute on everything else. But now with the economy the way it is, um, the COVID-19 pandemic thing, the emergency order coming off, the partners are going to feel a lot better about asking people to come back to the office, especially if they want a metric for people to miss in order to justify laying them off. And I think that's what they're doing here. I also think another thing they're doing is just easing people into the idea of being laid off, because it's like, oh, our jobs are getting worse. And then, when layoffs come, people won't be surprised. It's sort of like subversive psychology that they're trying to put on their staff people. They're not doing this. I think the reason they say they're doing it is to develop their professionals. Now, if it happened at a different time, maybe I could buy that. The problem is it's happening at the exact time that everybody's laying people off. So I don't think that's a coincidence. And it'll be interesting to keep an eye on. It'll be interesting to see how they implement it. It seems like just yesterday they announced the work from anywhere thing, but how time flies, especially when you have a downturn in the economy. But we'll have to keep an eye on this, and we'll have to keep an eye on a lot of other news stories that are out there right now. So make sure to subscribe to this podcast and check out the show notes for useful links. Thanks for listening.